Hi. I want to give you a taste, an initial taster of the work that I do. So I thought I would make a meditation, just a very basic meditation, um, illustrating the practical, direct experience that we are continually cultivating in this work, the direct experience of our own body, psyche, all the dimensions of what we are. The formula for doing that I have is very simple, really. And I came to this formula after lots of complex explorations, both in healing and meditation. So I've been working as a healer professionally using various modalities since 2004. And what has been driving me through those various explorations with people, I started out as a nutritionist working with allergies and intolerances, was really always the question of what is the cause of whatever we're working with here. And that could be a mental pattern, it could be a physical disease, it could be um, an emotional issue. It could be a question, whatever question that I have in my consciousness that is burning, wanting some kind of answer. So that was the driving question, what is the cause? And through that question, I looked deeper and deeper, and starting in with herbs and nutrition and really kind of mundane physical therapies. And then working into energetics and belief systems, when trauma, basically trauma healing. So I was trained as a regression therapist, and the regression therapy and my shamanic training went hand in hand. The type of training that I had in the that I'm calling shamanic training was really through a modern approach, a non-ceremonial, modern exploration through meditation of the psyche, not just in myself, but working in groups of explorers, let's say, who were tracking disease in subjects who were looking for insight into their own health and so-called problems or suffering, really suffering through the human experience, whether that be an emotional, mental, or physical suffering. So in that, I'm just going to give you a brief overview before we start the meditation, because I really want the focus of this to be the meditation, but to give you some background and conceptual framework for what we're about to do. In regression therapy, I worked with trauma healing and guided people back to really the first experience in their consciousness in time of a blockage or a trauma, and working with healing that first experience in time, then noticing the difference in the presentation of the disease or the presentation of their whole psyche, really, or mental patterns and how they're engaging with the world. And doing that in groups so that we can really have different perspectives on what's happening, sharing in esoteric research, really. So regression therapy was one thing. Another thing was working at the cellular level, and in meditation, visiting the cellular dimension of someone's psyche and physiology, noticing any, how trauma or suffering appears at the cellular level, doing a particular healing process, which was changing based on my own skill, really, and what I was being taught at the time and until now. Um, so working at the cellular level, going through a healing process, not just me healing someone, but really guiding someone, the person who is having the suffering, through a process of healing, and then seeing through, again, a research process, the change in the cellular function, if any, and obviously looking for a correlation into the change of the presentation through the subjective experience in the person that you're working with. So this was a very informative time for me, learning those skills, and I gained a lot of valuable experience doing that. Through that exploration, and I had, the whole time that I was learning healing techniques, I had a meditation practice. And for a while, they were kind of parallel but separate. And they converged more and more with time. They began to converge until at the point where I realized, working with this group that I'm sharing about, I realized that the search for good health, the search for peace in the psyche, for creativity in life, for a lack of suffering and joy, was actually the search for the true self, the search for illness, the cause of illness, and to have good health was actually the search for the true self. And when I realized that, it was so profound that it captivated my own attention as a healer and directed all of my resources to that point. I remember sharing this with my teacher at the time, and he didn't really understand where I was coming from, and he didn't resonate with that. So it was clear for me that I needed to leave that particular teacher and that particular group of people, which I did. And since then, I have been guided both by my own insight and everything that occurs in that wonderful, complex process, and in combination with really listening and hearing other people in their own process over, it's been what, 16, well, since I've been working like this, it's been about 12 years, I guess, but really 16 years now, working with people and really listening and watching as an observer, a social scientist, a scientist of the psyche and meditation, how the natural laws of suffering and illness into disease show themselves through the uniqueness of each person's path over time. So I've been really grateful to accompany so many people along their healing journey. And there was a point when what was complex became simple. So the complexity after I left this group was really about me going from the cellular level into the atomic level. I had been working in the cell and realizing, in order to go deeper and to look for the cause, I have to go deeper into the cell. I have to go into the nucleus, and then I have to go into the nucleolus. And I was mapping all of this stuff out. I was making diagrams and, excuse me, and then there was nowhere else to go. So, and things were changing and shifting and healing was happening, but it wasn't causal, it wasn't addressing the causal level necessarily. And I really wanted to work on that level. So my coming to this, there's no deeper place to go inside the cell, really corresponded with me leaving this group. And as soon as I left the group, I broke through into a deeper level of exploration. That happened to be the atomic level. So, I explored the atomic level, and for many months. As I explored that, I realized, oh, there's even deeper level and deeper level. So I kept being taken to this deeper place. And I noticed that the inner began to correspond with the outer. So as soon as I hit the atomic layer and I began working there, and I didn't know where I was at first. I just was integrating. What we are about to do is a process of integration that really happens by allowing nature to run its course within us through acceptance, allowance, and surrender. So as I kept doing that, I was shown, oh, the atomic layer. When I'm sitting in the atomic layer, I'm actually above the earth, looking at the earth, down at the earth. And behind me is the sun. And so it began this process of really exploring every dimension of myself, which corresponded to every dimension of the creation, right? If I'm working at the atomic layer in myself and I'm sitting also above the earth, then I know that there's a resonance between those two things, which is also the exploration of the personal and impersonal, or the personal and the cosmic, or the inner and outer, and the process of merging those. So I will simplify that story just to let you know that it got very complicated, and I spent a lot of time. I spent months in each layer. It would go farther and farther back until I went through the sun, and I went through the galaxy, and I went into the central sun, and then I had to come back into the center of the earth. And the expression was fun and great, but trying to lead people through every dimension of themselves like that, in an organized manner, was actually became complicated. And so a simplification through time landed for me. And that simplification is what my simple formula for meditation is based on now. And this simple formula, we're going to do it in a minute. I'm going to explain it as well. This simple formula creates a basic, simple structure for inner exploration that allows the exploration, the dynamism of the exploration, to present itself, and to allow nature to lead us along the path of healing that is unique to each individual, and is based on self-referral. So the continual referring to our own consciousness, and the acceptance and allowance that is held as the attitude in that self-referral, is the simple path for nature to come in and show us how to move from suffering or disease into health and creativity. So the basic elements of this, and you don't need to remember any of this, because I'm going to refer to it as we go through the meditation. I'm going to continually guide you back to yourself in this. So the basics are This is a somatic experience. We want to take your body and your sensory experience with us everywhere we go. And in fact, the physical body is the perfect gateway into the unconscious mind. So that's where we start. And we want to open ourselves up to the awareness of the physical sensations in the body. Really allow those physical sensations to be there. We can include emotion, thoughts, anything that you're getting with the senses, what you're hearing in your environment, energy movement that you're feeling, tension, pain, emotion, and any sensation, physical sensation that goes with that, thoughts or a thought, and any physical sensation that goes with that. That is the first element or part of the formula, the structure of the meditation. The second element is really what is completely silent, still. It can also just be calm, like maybe it's not completely silent, it's just calm, into the absolute, which is absence or cessation, I should say. It's cessation, okay? So in the beginning or anywhere along the way, this element is going to appear in relationship to your body in potentially surprising ways. It's always changing. Our relationship with silence or the absolute is always changing, and the exploration of the nature of that leads to the true understanding of the self. So that's the second element. And this true understanding will unfold as you go in the practice. The third element, which, you know, sometimes I add the third element after the first two are really explored first, so as not to bring in too many things. So if you want to just sit with the first two for a while and really allow those to exist together, then that's fine. And you can skip my invitation to include the third element when that comes. That third element is the sense of you. You're usually what people experience as the observing awareness, or a practical way to think of it is you're noticing all the physical sensations, and then you notice what's silent and still. You can actually move into physical sensations, or you can move into the silence. What is that that's moving? What is it that's being aware of what's silent and still? Or what is it that's feeling the sensation in the body? So that's the third element. And what I discovered, the simplicity of it, is that as long as these elements are experiencing any separation in space, there will be suffering or subtle incoherence. And we can see that trauma, distorted perceptions, illness, relationship issues, you can see immediately. It's amazing how you go into meditation and you are exploring one of these themes, and you can see how the elements appear, whether they're in separation or unification. Now, we don't need to do anything to bring them together actively. We don't need to force them or make them come together. They come together naturally simply by bringing awareness and then feeling, letting it be there, allowing the experience to happen. When the qualities of the experience are ready to change and shift and move, then we allow that to happen too. And that's really surrender into when the one noticing or the observer, a lot of people have the assumption that the observer is non-changing, that it's just a point of awareness. But when the observer is willing to offer itself up to the absolute and eventually to the experience, and let itself be so informed, so penetrated by the silence that it becomes something new, that it is materially changed, that's when the biggest transformations happen. And yet, the profundity of them is inherent, as in, a lot of times the big shift will happen, there will be a change, and it's not a huge drama. um, it's normalized, it's immediately normalized. So, this is, although it's a simple formula, there are applications, endless applications, and the complexities that arise through the journey and the unfoldings that happen are always amazing. Every experience that I have guiding people is unique. Every meditative session that you have within yourself will be unique. And this is what brings joy and excitement for me into the process. The beauty and the um, awe at the unfolding, the continual unfolding. So we are going to just have an experience today of a basic meditation without necessarily bringing in a particular inquiry. It can also be applied to specific inquiries, but let's just keep it simple since this is a first taste of the meditation. So get comfortable if you're not already comfortable, and take a couple of breaths. You can have your eyes open or your eyes closed. Either way, however you feel comfortable. Just making sure I'm still recording. And let's start by feeling your body, your physical body. You can scan your body from head to toe. Take your time and let yourself really taste the qualities of all the physical sensations. Notice where each sensation is living, whether it's tension or tingling or movement of energy, pain. And as you're feeling, the attitude that I will invite you to have is really one of acceptance, just letting it be there. Noticing any desire to change it and letting that desire to change it also be there. Maybe you want to land and listen in one particular sensation for a while. That's fine. Before moving on to another, or you can feel your whole body at once. Notice your breath and your breathing as part of the physical sensations. If those physical sensations begin to change presentation, change quality, just let them shift and become something new. Let yourself feel any emotion or mood. Maybe it's subtle and there's just a mood. And as you're tasting the qualities of that mood or that emotion and letting it be there, notice any physical sensations that highlight or seem to belong with the experience of the emotion. And once again, if the mood changes or shifts, then just let it and see what the quality of emotion or mood becomes. Include thoughts, whether it's one particular thought, maybe it's related to the emotion or to the physical sensations or what you've been doing today. Just let it be there. No need to stop your thoughts or make them go away, or just letting them be what they are, whether it's one particular thought or many thoughts. What's very important I've found is when that thought is there, it can also be a vision or a picture in your mind. Or many thoughts is to feel the physical sensations that highlight when the thought or the mental image, maybe you have a sound can appear in the mental experience. Feeling the physical sensations that go with the thought really encourages the connection and the rebridging of the head and the mental aspects of us back into the body. The connecting point being also the chest, so the emotions are also involved, and really noticing, bring awareness to the physical sensations and the emotion and the thoughts. Cultivates the connection between them and the integration that needs to happen for us to experience more wholeness. Bringing awareness to all of the activity, like we've just done, in our body, in our psyche, in our emotional experience, with an attitude of acceptance is really foundational. That alone can begin the transformational process and especially calm us down in moments of trauma. When the activity is too great to go deep into the causal layer or deep into silence, this is the gateway into a settling that will eventually allow us to include more elements and go deeper. Again, you can zoom in if you have a thought that's highlighting itself, or an emotion, or a physical sensation. You can move into that specific experience and feel the qualities of it, letting it be there, letting it reveal itself to you, letting it shift and change. And you can also zoom out and expand into several sensations, emotions, thoughts at once. Now that we have invited all of the activity into our awareness, mm, it becomes really apparent either within our body, within our space around our body, what is inactive or what is silent, the contrast between that activity and that silence can show us where the silence is in relationship to our body. It can be speckled throughout. It can be living in one particular place in our body or multiple places. It can be surrounding the body and or very far away. And this can be different in each moment. So just have a look now. Notice what is either somewhat calm and still or what is completely and utterly silent, where there is a complete absence of activity. Let yourself feel the qualities. You can turn away from the activity if you like and start to taste, sense, and investigate the nature of this calmness or silence. Some people experience it as deep blackness, like the velvety comfort of the womb or a deep cave. If that doesn't feel accessible to you, it's okay. You can just keep feeling the physical sensations with acceptance and allowance. And you'll see that the calm or the still will eventually become apparent in relationship to your body. The basic curiosity here is, what is it that's keeping these elements separate in space? Whether that's a slight and subtle separation or a vast separation or any level in between. And really just having the open inquiry, that curiosity, the soft inquiry invites anything within us, within the experience, that's keeping these elements apart within us to arise so that we can feel, listen, sense, become the response to that question. And each time we allow and feel what arises, there is a movement toward unification, a movement toward integration and wholeness that shows us what its qualities are. And in that inquiry, you can feel the physical sensations and emotions and thoughts together with what's completely silent. If that silence is far away, then that's okay. Just notice, sense that it's far away, where it is in relationship to your body as you are in acceptance of the activity. Your body can feel both of them at the same time. What's active and full of rich information, and what's completely empty or silent of information. The acceptance really starts to allow them to inform one another and bring up and show us the layers within ourselves that's been keeping them apart. There'll be times in this inquiry, this journey, where leaving, turning the focus away from the physical sensations just for time so that we can visit silence or stillness or the absolute is appropriate. It's very informative and awakening and rejuvenative. The sensory experience will always return so that we can include the latest realization of the nature and the feeling experience of silence into the activity. They want to be married. Remember to include your breath and your breathing in the physical sensations, just letting it be what it is. No need to make yourself breathe in a certain way. Feeling again your experience of silence. Where is it living in relationship to your body? Has it changed? Is it somewhere new? Maybe silence or stillness is not the word that matches its nature for you. Maybe there's a better, more specific word for it. The many dimensions of its profundity will continually reveal itself and, in the process, reveal you. There's no rush or no hurry. You can allow that to happen in its own time as you accept and allow each experience that arises. As they begin to come together more and inhabit the same space, notice the qualities that that brings into your experience. Notice the contrast between the feeling of separation and the feeling of unification as it builds. Then, if it feels comfortable and appropriate, we can include the last of the three elements. And that is the sense of you. What is it that is feeling the qualities of the stillness, sensing the physical sensations? What is it that moves from one to the other? The question, any question that I ask in inquiry, is meant to highlight an inner experience so that we can feel and sense what's related to the question. So you can notice whatever it is, that vehicle for feeling, the one that turns its focus. You might notice that it's living in a particular place and relationship to your body. When there's an experience of a sensation, is it from within the sensation or is it from another place? Are you looking down or feeling below you? When you feel the stillness, is the one sensing the stillness, is it feeling the stillness behind you or within you or far, far away? Where is that one noticing the stillness? There'll be subtle kinesthetic sensations that go with that element of the observer. And we're just going to include that experience of observing or feeling or sensing into what's integrating. When the unification is complete, it will actually be the unification between all the sensory experience, what is completely silent or lacking in sensory experience, free of sensory experience, I should say, and the one feeling and noticing it all. They will all merge, they will all inhabit all of space. So, as I'm saying that, anything that is wanting to be visited and heard and seen and felt along the way to that greater unification is going to arise, giving us a chance to let it be there. Together with what is silent. Maybe the observer or the one feeling has an opinion or a position, a perspective that wants to be included. You can just let that position be there. Sometimes people refer to what arises as resistance, resistance to the unification. Just let it be there. Let yourself resist. Explore the qualities of resistance. Not wanting to change, not wanting to be different. Really letting yourself be what you are. Keep coming back to the physical sensations. They'll be changing all the time. So listen deeply again to their qualities, where they're living. Notice again what's silent or still, and whatever the experience of that now is, whatever word matches your direct experience in each moment. Let that experience of silence be there together with what's moving and shifting and changing. And what it is that's feeling it all. Just let it dive into the pot and include itself in what's shifting and changing and moving. Again, as you go, unification is the natural outcome. And as that unification builds and cultivates, there will be properties belonging to that unification. There will be qualities of mood or emotional qualities. There will be physical sensations of energy movement, or it depends, you know. It's really an ecstatic, creative state that comes in, and it will be unique and new in each moment and with each level of integration. So, the more you feel those qualities, the more you're cultivating the state, the more you're encouraging the experience of unification to build to completion. Really feel the qualities of unification in your body. What kind of physical sensations, what kind of movement is your body inspired to make when it is fully informed by this state of unification? Kind of activity, effortless action wants to be born and birthed through you. The coming together of the elements really allows the most subtle aspects of what we have claimed in our meditation to embody themselves, bringing the highest dimensional parts of ourselves into the practical movement in our daily life. Notice how those qualities of unification inform the breath and the breathing and the speaking. If you're experiencing those qualities of unification, you can go even farther by opening your eyes and noticing still your inner experience. What kind of sensations are you having as you notice the room? Maybe you look and feel your body. You can start to move. As you're doing that and feeling the qualities of unification, the physical sensations and the stillness, the quality of stillness embedded within your state, you're really now bringing the level of unification that you've achieved into the external environment and informing your world. Letting that ecstatic state create your life through the expression of your body, through your movements and your words, and the feeling quality of what you are. I often recommend people, as they're going away from a session and they have access to this ecstatic state, to tune into it, feel it in the coming minutes and hours and days. As you do that, it will continue to integrate. Anything keeping it from being full will arise and move and shift until it normalizes, because it's a unhindered aspect of what you are. And also, on a practical level, in daily life, feeling stillness in relationship to your body is a really foundational, simple practice that you can always do, even if you're talking on the phone or doing the dishes or engaging with your kids, or you're in an argument, cleaning the toilet. It's always available to you, stillness. And as soon as you feel stillness, the engine of transformation that naturally brings you into balance and unification is started and rolling. So it's been my pleasure today to give you a very basic introduction to the way that I work, and I appreciate that it's a small window into the adventurous world of becoming and transformation that happens through bringing this into every moment, really, of our lives eventually, and becoming effortless action in motion, inspired, creative, awakened beingness. Thank you for joining me, and you can always find me under Thesis Sophia, thesissophia.com. I'm very active on Facebook at this point in time. Thesis Sophia. Heartbecoming.com is also my website. They both go to the same place, thesissophia.com and heartbecoming.com. I have a YouTube channel, which I will be adding more to soon. So thank you again, and many blessings on your journey.